Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Hypnosis Hero. I may look a little bit like Jim Kellner, but I'm not Jim Kellner. He is having some technical difficulties, which is the one time that I can actually get my jab in and say, you know what, don't buy a Mac, buy a proper computer. And then it'll always work. At least it does for me. What can I say? So in lieu of Jim joining us right off the hop, I'm actually going to bring on our co-host and good friend, Mr. Brian Bay.
Hey, good evening, Shawn. That's actually probably good night for you guys in the Great White North.
No, it's only 6:30 here. We're still evening.
Oh, you're only an hour ahead of us.
Yeah. See,
Okay.
because we don't change and everybody else does.
Right, and you're closer to the North Pole, so it probably gets dark. What, about 11:15? 10
The
o'clock at night.
sun rises now at about 4:45 ish, and it sets.
I think it's about what we're at.
8:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
8:39 now, but in a month or so,
I'll say
it probably won't set until 10:30. Yeah,
June, July. Yeah, it gets pretty rough.
that was the one thing that was so weird. Like when I came down and visited Texas, or when I was in Las Vegas, that almost equal 12 hour night and day. Just that was weird, especially in the
what
summer.
is this stuff? The sun is broken.
Yeah, like you're missing 4 hours of your day.
Yeah. That's why I was always more productive, like with yard work and stuff way back when in the summertime. And then it's like at wintertime, it gets dark at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You're like, I'm ready for bed. But
well, in the winter, yeah, we do flip the other way. I think our shortest day is about 7 hours and 55 minutes of sunshine. It's usually like 9 to like 4:55, and then that's it.
And this weekend,
working hours.
Yeah, this weekend I absolutely love the weather. There was hardly a cloud in the sky. I think Friday night we saw some of the, I'm just going to call them the Northern Lights. They're like, oh, the Aureole something.
The Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, that one. And of course, I woke up the following morning and I thought my computer, like the display on my phone was all messed up because it was showing the pictures and like, that like magenta pink and green and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, these are all the Northern Lights pictures that everybody's flooding the feed with.
Yeah, and not my screen is broken.
Exactly. So no, while Jim's sorting out all things Mac related and whatnot. See, I was expecting you like a technology guy to be like, all right, get a proper PC, but then you'd be like, run Linux. Open source stuff.
Don't run open source stuff. Nobody pays for the patches. You have no idea who's patching what with what and how, unless you're a programmer yourself.
Exactly. So Linux is made for programmers by programmers.
Exactly. And they do a good job, no question, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. So we've got a guest this week, don't we?
We do. Yes. It's not just us, believe it or not. We have
a collective sigh of relief from the audience.
Well, that too, yes. We actually do have a guest. He is from Canada. He lives close to the center of the universe, which we all acknowledge as Toronto. And I'm hearing a ding dong. That means Jim must be here.
Oh,
look at that!
Wait! Drum roll! Oh, there he is. Get a Mac, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
Whoa!
Good evening, sir.
What the hell?
You're online with the rest of us. This is live.
God dang it! Shoot.
That's Jim cursing at his computer, not us.
Are you still with us, Jim?
I'm going to take that as a kind of like.
All right. Well, Jim's still sorting himself out there. We were just about to bring on our.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can't hear you.
So we're not allowed to, we're not able to mute his speakers, but
Check your speaker setting, Jim. You may have it set to an external speaker or maybe to an external monitor or something like that. Oh, we'll get there.
so Shawn, you want to just send him
we
away?
used to have this commercial in Canada, and whenever the TV stations would go out for whatever reason, it's technical trouble is temporary. Do not change the channel.
Yep. Yeah, should we bring on our guest?
I think we should. All right.
We can have Jim in the background and.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, so from Canada, Eastern Canada, the other part of Canada. Oh, I think Jim can hear us now. Okay,
Hey guys.
Stop talking bad about Jim.
Your Majesty, welcome.
Please continue, Shawn.
I was just about to bring Richard on.
Good job.
Okay, then here we go. Direct from almost Toronto, Canada, the center of the universe. At least that's what they think. It's all good. We are going to bring on Mr. Richard Cole, everybody.
Wow. Oh.
Richard, welcome.
Thank you very much. I guess it's go time. I was enjoying my Labatt Blue, a Pilsner no finer. That's and Labatt Blue. Wow, thanks for having me, friends. It's great to be here. It's good to see 3/4 of these people. The other one's me, so I guess I like myself too. So there I am. How are y'all doing today?
Doing all right, thanks.
Yeah, I'm gonna second your Labatt's comments. It's definitely a good choice.
Awesome. Thank you. That's great.
How do you have such vibrant color, Richard Cole?
Oh, it's skin tone, really. It's skin. I moisturize. No, actually, you know what? It's kind of funny because I've always had this little goatee type thing. And if you guys promise not to tell too many people, twice a year, I actually shave this off and I moisturize my whole face. So, and part of my head, most of my head. And that's how I keep my young complexion.
God, you don't look a day over 60. So good job.
Sweet. Thank you, Jim. Us eggheads, we need to bond together and we need to lift each other up and support each other. Am I right, Shawn, or am I right?
Well, here's the thing. Brian hasn't quite joined us yet, so
Brian has no plans to, like, barring a horrific house fire or something.
I think I think what it is. My friend, he's a magician. His name's Randy Rogers, and I think Randy Rogers put it to me the best. He says that me, Richard, I am so intelligent that all the brains just push out all the hair. So all the intelligent people just have no hair, right? You can't grow grass on a playground, I guess.
It's true. So true. Appreciate that. Hey, did we, Shawn, guys, did you update people on the format of the show now, the additions we made?
We made a couple of roundabout statements, but you might want to zero in on that just so people know what to expect tonight.
There was a lot of apologizing with what people heard while you were troubleshooting, but I'm kidding.
Did I make noise? I tried to really not say anything that was inappropriate.
You're going to rewatch. You're going to rewatch this. It's going to be a couple of just absolutely perfect failures that just collided right at once, and it's beautiful.
Just blame solar flares. Just say solar flares, Jim. That's what I do.
Dude, that's exactly what it was. I'm having sound issues. Here's a problem. So I'll tell you guys, I've learned something. Never, ever try to, I just say never plug in anything new into a computer for like a live stream or something, unless you've got like 3 days to solve it ahead of time. Because I plugged in a thing for my Rhodes mic. I thought I could use those on my computer while I was traveling. Turns out, nope, couldn't do it. And it erased the driver. So I've been spending some time trying to solve that. So anyway. Hey, welcome. So of course, a couple of things we've added to the show, which I think, am I frozen?
It looks
no, you're just really
unfreeze.
still.
There you are.
Okay, so a couple of things we've added. So we're going to start doing a tech tip with Shawn. He's going to share some tech tips with us, and he'll be doing that in just a moment. And then we're going to get on with our interview with Mr. Cole. And then also, Brian Bay is going to be starting a new segment called basically Deep Dive with Brian, and he'll be doing that's the show after the show, because sometimes there's a lot of stuff that he wants to really dig in deep with, and if the guest is able to stick around afterwards, then they will do that, while I hasta la vista, because I've got sleep to do or something. So Shawn, what do you got for us, buddy?
Something that's really simple, and it's so simple it's often overlooked, and that is using not just a notes app for all your action items and things that you need to do, but actually getting an app that is geared towards helping you get things done. Lots of them out there. Todoist is a really popular one. The Microsoft To Do app that's part of Office 365 is another one. And they're all of them are based around a methodology called getting things done. And so getting things done, it's really simple. It doesn't matter what's coming at you. Paper, email, text message, social media, whatever that avenue is, you gather it together, you make a little project out of each of those things, and you go by next action. What's the next action? What's the next action? Until you're done that project, that one falls off. Next action. What's the next action? And it's one of those things that if you have that habit of next action, you'll always have something to do, but B, you'll actually be organized enough to get things done in a logical manner.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shawn. Appreciate that. Mr. Richard Cole.
Yes, sir.
I like that. Could you salute too at the same time when you do that?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh, wrong one.
No, I was gonna say, Jim, that's like more the Canadian salute.
Yeah,
the British model.
So
he did it moderately okay.
So I gotta say, as I was looking, I had no idea how prolific you are, Mr. Richard Cole. You not only do hypnotherapy shows or hypnosis shows, but you also do coaching for stage hypnotists. And you've written a bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about your book a bit later. Excited about that. And yeah, so why don't you kind of give us a background on how did you get started in this? And what were you doing before you got started?
Well, before I got started hypnosis, I was a fetus, and then entered the world and became a suave debonair fellow. I'm just kidding. Well, no, it's kind of true. When I was 12 years old, my dad took me to the college where he worked, and I got the opportunity to see two people who would influence the rest of my life. The opening act was what's called a mentalist, like a real mentalist, not someone who does magical mental effects. but a real mentalist, like somebody who would memorize the gross domestic product of all the countries around the world, and then you would call out a city, and he'd be able to name them. He was also able to write backwards and upside down, and he was able to speak backwards, and they had these reel-to-reel tapes, and so when you played it backwards, it was the correct way to the correct words. It was really super cool. That was the opening act. The headline entertainer was a stage hypnotist, and his name was Mike Mandel. And being 12 years old, he had people do amazing things. And as a 12-year-old boy, I thought, I want that power. So throughout school, I started doing magic in grade school, and in high school, I took some tap, jazz, and ballet. I did some musical theater. I went to university, Carleton University in Ottawa, and I finished up at Queen's University in Kingston. And while I was there, I was studying psychology and also doing stand-up comedy on the open mic night at some of the comedy clubs up there. And so during a couple of the psychology classes, we were talking about hypnosis, and I recalled back to when I was a kid. And then so I started learning hypnosis, and just when I was about ready to graduate, a friend of mine and I, Big Kevin, we call him that because he's tall, and we went to Showplace in Peterborough to see a hypnotist, and that hypnotist was Mike Mandel. So it had all come full circle, and it was kind of like God, the universe, telling me, hey, this is what you want to do. And so that's what I did. My friend Big Kevin said, I hope you do this better than you did your go-kart racing. And so I kept at it, and here I am as a stage hypnotist. This is my 28th year full-time.
Wow.
As you mentioned, this is all I do. I'm not a radio DJ. I don't sell insurance. I'm, not a male magazine model just yet. This is all I do, and I love what I do. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hypnotherapy. Do you do any hypnotherapy?
When I first got trained, I here in Ontario, you don't need to be licensed, but I wanted to know what I was doing as far as working with the mind and working with people. So I studied hypnosis as a therapy at the Ontario Hypnosis Center with Georgina Cannon and Jeff Oatman. And so once I got done that, I kind of would do some hypnosis, some hypnotherapy. We call it consulting hypnotists up here. And I did a lot of work with some smoking clients, and mostly with sleep clients, because we had a big warehouse factory, big Sears warehouse factory here in Belleville where I live. And a lot of people were having trouble when they work shifts getting back to sleep. So I would work with them to get get them to sleep, basically. And that was a lot of fun. And that happened. I did that for just a couple of years, maybe 3 years, maybe 4, because what had happened, interesting story, how I got into that for 4 years, was I was performing shows. I had always wanted to perform shows. So after I learned the hypnotherapy, I immediately wanted to do the stage stuff. I went to Las Vegas and I trained with Jeff Ronning on how to do stage shows, and Mark Savard as well. And so I learned the stage show, and I was doing the stage show, and there was high schools. I was doing high school assembly shows, and I got a call to do an assembly show in London, Ontario. And so it was a nice February day, and I drove down. I always like to get there the night before because you never know what weather in Canada is going to be like.
Me too.
So Yeah.
No,
So
really.
I got
That's metric weather.
yeah, yeah. And so I got to the hotel, and it was a nice day out, and it was a nice night, and I went to bed and woke up the next morning. This is mid-February, so there was about, I guess 8 feet of snow on the ground that had
Oh,
snowed overnight, and it was snowing like Millennium Falcon style, like going into hyperspace and that. So the school called me and they said, well, we've canceled the show. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. We can reschedule it for another time. Got in my car and proceeded to drive home. And as I was driving home, I put into action how I was going to run this office and where I was going to get it and what I was going to do with this, just for those winter months, which are like 90% of Canada. So it's, so I did that, and it was good fun. And then the shows just started going, and so I let the hypnotherapy go by the wayside. Every once in a while, somebody will call me up, and I'll help them. I helped a couple of people. They had fear of flying. And one lady in particular, she wanted to go on a holiday in Hawaii, and she was a good friend of mine. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll help you. And with just one session, we were able to help with that fear. And you know what, guys, you've really made a difference when the people that you help recognize you. And it really touched my heart when one day I go to the mailbox, and I open up the mailbox, and in it is a postcard from Hawaii, that my friend who I helped with their fear had sent. And on the back it said, I made it. Thank you for all your help. And so that's when we do good. We help people, and it was great to do that. Yeah.
And that's when Richard felt like a god.
I never feel like a god. I'm very humble, and I know that it takes a lot of people to make us who we are. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and so I it was my training, and I still continue to do training. I go to the conferences now, mostly to reconnect with my friends, like Jim and Shawn, and I have another friend in the UK named Grant, and my German friend Kartzen.
Oh, ask Grant about his Vegas trip in February. What happened? Well, there's several things that happened, but
yeah. And so I'm grateful for the people that have helped me, and I'm grateful for the talent that I've been given to not only help people with what we use with hypnosis, but also to make people laugh and give them some happy memories. These are tough times we're living in. And, I'm thankful that I have a roof over my head, and there, but for the grace of God, I could be out on the street, or could be in tough times. So I'm very grateful for what I have, and that I can do what I can do. And if I can make somebody smile, and relieve their pain for just a little bit, then I'm thankful for that.
Richard, I got to say too, I remember kind of thinking when I was doing stand up, did a show one time, and I've told the story before, but I'm gonna tell it again. I used to kind of think, I really wanted to do something deeper. That's why one of the reasons I really wanted to do, comedy hypnosis, hypnotherapy, that kind of stuff. But we did a show. We did a comedy. We did just a comedy show, and I opened up for my friend headliner Susan Jones. After the show, this woman came up, and she goes to Susan. She goes, I got to tell you, my sister died 6 months ago. Tonight is the first time I've laughed since then. So, yeah, what you're saying, it is a healing experience. People need to laugh. They need to have fun, and so it's a great way of touching the world, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple of things also that you talked about there. Hold on. I like to get there. So I don't have a big problem with snow usually when I'm working. But I always,
Jim goes to Arizona in the summertime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do my best to be, if I'm flying, to be the day before, because I don't want to risk, being late or cancellations, missing the gig, because not only do I lose money, but you've really just disappointed in the host and made them look bad, all their guests and everything. It's just a really bad experience. I always try to do that.
Here's a great tip that I'll throw out, that I always do when I arrive in the city or town where I'm doing a show, which is depending on how far away it is, or the weather might be the night before, or at least early in the day. I'll send a text message to the client who hired me, and I'll say, "Hey, just want to let you know I'm just checking into my hotel here."
Yeah,
it does. I can only imagine if I was the organizer worrying about somebody coming from out of town,
right.
And oh, good, he's at least here at the hotel.
Yeah.
It takes anything I can do to help them be stress a little less is great. So anything I can do to help them feel better, I'm going to do it. And I mean, it's just a quick little text message.
Yeah, great tip. Great tip. I got to tell you too, I'm really impressed that. So one of the issues that I see sometimes with people that want to do stage hypnosis is that they want to go to like a weekend workshop, and then they want to jump right up on stage. And I always tell people, there's so many. We don't have open mics. Stage hypnotists don't really have open mics. You might go someplace where you can get 5 to 7 minutes, do some rapid stuff, or street hypnosis can help, but all that background, like doing stand-up comedy, doing any kind of performance, or going to Toastmasters, anything you can do to get yourself up on stage is just going to make it a better experience. So it's not like you're practicing those first few times out on stage, because you'll have been performing all along.
Yeah, I find I come from a performing background. I mean, I think my 3 sisters had me performing for them when I was like, as soon as I could walk. They dress me up and have me do crazy, silly things. So I've always been a performer, but I see people coming into the stage aspect from the hypnotherapy side, and some of them are good with the transition, and some of them have difficulty and they're not quite sure what it is. And the first thing I tell them is you have to be funny. If all you had up there were all volunteers, and not you really wouldn't have a show. But if all you had up there was you and no volunteers, you need to make a show. So you need to. This is a friend of mine, Don Barnard. He had a video series called "Find Your Funny," and you need to find your funny. You need to find what is entertaining about you, so that you can captivate that audience right from the get-go, even before anybody comes up on stage to be hypnotized. So that's what you have to be able to do right out of the gate. You have to be able to be funny, I guess.
Yeah.
Go with the flow.
I agree completely. Hey, we've got some questions, some comments. I'm going to have Brian do some shout outs in just a second. Before we do that, we do have, tonight's prize. We have the, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's the, so as always, we're giving away a prize tonight. When you comment, hold on, I want to make sure I've got the set up. Hold on. Okay, we got the raffle. Yeah, when you enter the hashtag, it has to be hashtag Hypnosis Hero. Hashtag Hypnosis Hero. So just comment something and use the hashtag Hypnosis Hero. It's better if you don't Oops, it's going. It's stop. It's not. Yeah, sorry, that's premature.
Winner was going to be me anyway because I've only used it twice.
Right.
Congratulations, John.
We always
I win regularly.
We always like to give a prize away, so we'll be doing that. When do we do that, Shawn? I forgot.
In about 15 minutes.
About 15 minutes.
Get your hashtags in now.
Right. We'll also be talking about Richard's book here in just a little bit. And yeah. So, Brian, you want to give some shout outs, give some questions from the comments over there to Richard?
There we are. Yeah. So Becca, all the way from the UK, has asked, what's been one of your best memories from a stage show?
Oh, wow. Best memories from a stage show.
Remember, this is a family-friendly show.
Yeah, it's going through my head. I gotta reel that one in. I'd say one of my favorite memories from a stage show happened early on, and I was doing a high school show, and it was one of the skits where I would have everybody's phone became a cell phone, so they would have like a shoe cell phone. And it's funny to me. And so one of the, I'd say ring and everybody would take off their shoe and they'd answer it. And this one girl, she took her shoe off and she's like this, and she stands up and I'm just watching her, and she starts walking away. Hello. And then she starts walking towards the door, the outside door of the gymnasium. And I said, you can just freeze right there. What seems to be the problem? And she goes, there's no signal in the gym. There's no signal in the gym.
I was expecting
to get the signal.
I was expecting something along the lines of like, well, I didn't want to be rude and talk in front of a whole bunch of people and interrupt the show. I just want to step outside.
And yeah,
That's so funny. Wow.
Yeah. It's one of those. That one is one of my favorite memories because it re-emphasizes the unknownness of the shows that we do. We could do the same skits night after night after night, week after week after week, but we don't know exactly how these people are going to react. And so something like that, it sticks with me. It sticks with me because it makes me laugh. Like the power of hypnosis, hypnologic. We used to call it back in the olden days, where we had mustaches like this. And we used to talk like this, like it was an old timey radio show. Anyways, so it was the hypnologic was just fantastic, and it made perfect sense. That was fantastic. Sorry, I went on about that memory, but that's a funny memory.
I thought just everybody sounded like Quagmire way back when. We've got Carol tuning in from Arizona.
Carol.
Dennis Ridgway asks, "Who's your best friend from Belleville, Illinois?"
There's a Belleville, Illinois? What kind of craziness is
they
this?
copy us all the time, Richard.
It's actually quite funny. I've known Dennis Ridgway for a very long time. He's a good friend, and when I go to the Belleville Wesleyan Church here in Belleville, Ontario, Canada, as well. And when COVID happened, we had a webpage, and we started doing our services online for the people that were at home, and we were doing it through Facebook at the time. And so I don't know, maybe it's just I'm really good with SEO or promoting our Belleville Wesleyan Church. We started getting people from Belleville, Illinois commenting about the new pastor that was at the church.
Oh, that's awesome.
they just thought it was their Belleville church. And so it was really cool. And then Dennis and I talked one time, and we've been friends. And Dennis, where are you? I'm in Belleville. And I went, no way. It's amazing. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
How funny.
Then Andre says, shoe phone is so unsanitary. I'm like, you should see downtown Seattle.
Yeah. Yuck.
And then
especially in the countries, like out in the country ones. Yeah, that's fun.
And Becca from the UK, love how you guys say cell phone over there. She says it's mobile phone here, and
all
Becca,
phones are mobile until the cord runs out.
That's
why this runs on the cellular network.
Yeah, two world wars and the Second Amendment allow us to say that. Oh, there was Jim. I was like, wait a minute. Jim's computer froze. I'm like, wait a minute.
Smell of freedom, people. Smell of freedom.
That had to translate from PC to Apple. So Andre McDonald, Hypnosis. People like you inspire me. I'm getting closer to stage, and I've got routine ideas written out. Thanks for sharing. So Andre, dude, you got to keep us posted on when you do your first show. If you've got any questions on stuff that you want to just run some stuff by us, by all means, you've got a whole community of support here, and we want to ensure that you succeed. So definitely let us know how you're doing and how we can help. How do you know if a new stage routine is going to rock the crowd? You don't.
If you have a stone in your pocket, you can throw it at them.
There was a point in time where the Wright brothers decided, we don't know if this thing's going to fly, and they went out and made history. So, if use your best judgment, and I know that judgment is my arch nemesis, but I would say just if it's not offensive or it's relatively family friendly, and you can say it professionally and it's a little bit edgy, send it, man. And if it doesn't work, all right, retweak it, rewrite it, or just move on to something else.
Tell him how, Richard. Tell him how we stack the deck, how we kind of sandwich those kind of things.
Yeah. So thanks for the question, Andre. And good luck with your career. Anything we can do to help. There's always good people who will help you. You just got to find them. So when you're trying new routines, I'm kind of known for creating new skits and coming up with skits and helping people with skits. And the most difficult thing to do is to know whether a skit's going to work or not. And the only way to know is, like Brian says, you send it. The kids nowadays, full send. You got to try it. And in order to get a better chance of success and figure out how it's going to work, you, like Jim said, you sandwich your routine between two good routines. So you'll have a routine that works, and you have another routine that works. So you put the new routine in between, so that you have a good routine that works. Now your new routine, maybe it rocks. Maybe it's amazing. People are laughing. They pee their pants with laughter. It's hilarious. It's great. Away you go. Now it rocks. And then you go on to the next amazing one. But sometimes, only sometimes when you try new stuff, you have the really, really good one. And then your new skit doesn't really take off. It's not quite finessed just yet, but that's okay, because you've got the next great skit that will get applause. So try to sandwich those new ones in between two good ones.
And Jim can attest to this, because he's seen me do it. That usually when we go out and do street hypnosis, I'm just making stuff up as I go along. What's the most obnoxious stuff that I can try to get away with without having to explain myself in front of a local magistrate or law enforcement? But it's the silly stuff, and it's like, hey, can this work? And Brian Brushwood is a very, very well-known magician. If you look at Scam School on YouTube, he does this one part where he says, hey, a magic trick won't hit, or I can't a card or something like that where I want them to do it, and I realize that trick is dead, and I'll go, okay, wait 1 second. It goes, and I move on to something else. Or if you just kind of let it play out and then you just go, ha, that would be really cool if it worked.
Yeah.
It's a comedy thing. It gets a laugh and you move on because the audience is blissfully ignorant because only you know what isn't working in your show. The audience is like, somebody barked like a chicken and clucked like a seal, and this was great. And so I would just say run with it, man.
And having done same thing happened in stand-up. You'll think something is amazing, and Richard can attest to this. You'll think this is the funniest joke I've ever come up with, and you tell it up on stage and it gets nothing. So don't be surprised if those brilliant things you come up with aren't as funny to the audience as you might think. But doesn't mean you can't tweak it, try it again. The kind of the rule in stand-up is you try it out 3 times, different ways, try to work it, and if it doesn't work, then you gotta dump it. Don't get too married to it, or dump it temporarily. I keep it on the list. I used to keep it on a list. I had a list of jokes because sometimes you think of something else and you go, oh, that's what I need to do. And so it'll work later. Also, I want to make sure, hey, Dennis, it's not 2 hashtags. It's just 1 hashtag, everybody. It's just 1 hashtag, Hypnosis Hero. So unfortunately, all those 2 hashtags are not going to show up in the lottery.
But yeah, I think just touch one more thing is, probably going to start local for your performances, so you kind of know what's current events and what's kind of trending in your area, and just I guess the cultural and even, dare I say, political climate. So there's some parameters of do's and don'ts. But yeah, like I said, try it out there, and then kind of know the area that you're going to be working in.
Let me just say, I want to say something real quick too, because I can attest to the fact that Richard is amazing at coming up with new skits, because he actually had him as a guest on one of my programs, my courses. He wowed us all with how he came up with stuff, and you can get tips from people, and we're all happy to help. If you need a deeper dive, if you need someone to really, really dig in there and help you get to the next level, Richard is a coach, stage hypnosis coach. Please reach out to him. It's worth it to spend a few extra bucks to get that deeper dive. Trust me.
So, Andre, I'm going to look at this where it says when you open your eyes, the person next to you is the very last cigarette in the world, and the burn is fast, and you better hurry and get your fix. If that's a skit idea, that I could see that hitting and being very comical, but then I also see it has potential to kind of go off the rails. So you'd probably want to tailor that, giving explicit instructions like, hey, the person next to you is like the most foul smelling. You don't want to have anything to do with them, but you will not hit, punch, kick, no physical violence, that type of stuff. And, or try to take that scenario and then tie it in with something really, really silly, because, if people are jonesing for their last cigarette and it's a fix, like that could get violent pretty quickly. And be prepared for the unexpected. I told, I had to Jim, you were there. It was actually your show. We had the Masonic group, and the one lady, I was like, okay, two sisters right next, probably a couple years apart. And I was like, okay, yeah, both of them, when you open your eyes, I'm going to be the Matt Rife. I'm your favorite celebrity. You're so excited to see me. But the one, it was like, you're super jealous. Anybody who looks at me, and the intent was for me to have her do the death stare and, the stuff that women do. And she stood up, got in between me and her sister, grabbed her sister by the shoulders and started walking her off the side of the stage. I'm like, oh, she's going to throw her sister backwards off the side of the stage. And I was kind of like, okay, come right back here and sleep and, do all that stuff. And it was enough to where it was like, okay, this is funny, but we stopped it before it got out of hand. But there was a little butt puckering on my part for that, for sure.
I think that's another good example of when you're coming up with a skit or a routine of skits that you you have your list in your skit of things that you're going to do, and you go piece by piece and see what kind of response you get from the first piece. If it starts exploding out of control, you want to be able to manage it, and not let it get any more full blown than it could get. Like Brian says,
Well, Richard, what are your thoughts on this? I look at some things where, because I've done a lot of, I've done a fair amount of like kind of roadie type stuff for Jim, when he's here in Washington. And one of the things I kind of look at, and we'll kind of, war game some things afterwards, but I'm like, it can be really cool if you can set something up as a bit or in, was it embedded command and, instruction, and then you come back to it, or you kind of go through the show and everything, but it's still there. And then you kind of do a callback kind of towards the end, and people are like, oh my God, it still worked. Well, now you've got that wow factor. And then, another thing is you might get some hecklers that might try to, involuntarily participate against your wishes. Remember, you've got the microphone. You're in charge. You're able to shut those people down, but, have some witty comebacks and things like that. So it's it can be some great things. So like I said, you're going to take your bumps and your lumps, but, just power through it, man.
So
yes.
And actually, before I get gonged, last question from Becca. What's something that you found didn't work well in any of your shows?
Well, before you say anything, Richard, Dennis already answered the question.
Oh, okay.
I just got to find it. Where is it?
Well, let's hear Richard's thing first, and then we'll go to see what Dennis says.
Oh God!
Taking off my clothes. Sorry,
demonetized.
Sorry, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
What's something that kind of went sideways on one of your shows that was unexpected?
Not one. I think what Becca's asking is what really doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
That's a difficult question. I just haven't done it for so long. It's like you're able to recognize. I'm able to recognize when volunteer isn't the right volunteer for something, and who's going to be better. You know what? I do know one that didn't quite work, and it was I had made everybody an animal. And in my phrasing, I just said, you've now become an animal from the zoo, a zoo animal. And you open your eyes, and I played my music, and people were just kind of looking around.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because I hadn't been specific enough, and I'd been too generic.
Yeah.
Too vague. Yeah, too vague. And if I had said something like your favorite zoo animal, or your favorite animal in the jungle, or your favorite dinosaur, and you'll get up
or assign them roles. Person I'm touching now, you're a hippopotamus, you're a lion, a tiger, and a bear, and oh my.
Yeah. So sometimes the allowing them to create what they want to create, sometimes that doesn't work because they just need direction when they're in the hypnotic state. They need a little bit more a little bit more push, a little bit more direction. So yeah, that's something that hasn't worked before. And I mean, it's a learning, like going back to Andre, who's starting out again, if something doesn't work, like Jim said, don't throw it away. Just stop, review your video, say, hey, why didn't that work? After that show, I sat down with my friend. We had a beer, and he said, what were you thinking? Why would you just randomly make something generic like that? And I was like, I don't know. I thought they'd come up with some crazy stuff, some cool stuff, and act it out without too much. But you know what? I'll be one of the first.
Don't be surprised when the answer to what were you thinking is, I don't know, I just brain farted, man. My mind blanked and I short circuited, and I was just trying to like fill for something, and that was the first thing that came to my mind.
My friends know me that well.
ask me how I know.
That's true. I
think in general, if you expect the volunteers to be really creative, you're going to disappoint yourself. Because some of them will be, but some of them won't be. And so if you rely too much on that, and I think, here's the thing, I love it when you can just give them some simple command because you think, oh, they're going to come up with something brilliant. But man, I tell you what, because really, I don't want to just spell it all out and make them do exactly what I said. Yeah. I want the audience to go, wow, look what they came up with. And sometimes it works and sometimes it just doesn't. So, I think you make great points there, Richard. The more specific you are with what you want from them, the better. And then still sometimes they misinterpret it. I love that. I love that stuff. When you give them one command, like I make somebody stand up and shout, damn, I'm pretty. That's my thing, right? When I say my name, this guy, for some reason, he thought he was supposed to shout my name. And then one of the other participants started shouting, damn, I'm pretty. So every time I say my name, he stands up and says Kellner. Now, pretty soon the audience starts shouting out Kellner so that he'll say Kellner. It just went crazy, but it was still funny. They loved it. And plus they said my name over and over and over again, which hopefully it sticks.
and sometimes circumstances will just hand you this golden opportunity where you just sit back and go, I'm just going to let this play out.
Yeah.
I hope you're paying attention, new hypnotists, because even though we're seasoned pros, sometimes we don't know exactly where it's gonna go. But we do know where we'll rein it in. We do know where we'll rein it in, and that's why we do what we do all the time. Is because there's going to be that one night where somebody does something we weren't expecting, like I'm getting no signal in here, so they head towards the exit.
Well, and if nothing else, we can. I'll leave with this before we get into prizes and raffle and stuff like that. Is check out Safe on Stage. It's just Google it. It's got like a checklist for your stage. Some things to keep in mind, safety, how to handle abreactions, and definitely make sure that you're properly insured. And then when you want to go book anything, make sure that you've got a solid contract that spells out your riders and responsibilities and stuff for everybody.
And then expect them not to follow your rider.
There's an aspect of you have to train your clients.
So, and that you make a great point there with the safety thing. We on Hypno News, Grant and I talked to a friend of mine, Louis Fox, and he was talking about a guy who had done the arm yank induction, but did it like really yanked hard. And then when Louis asked him about it, he said, well, the book says it won't hurt. And I'm like, get some professional training.
If you yank on it like a 200-pound gorilla, it's a quick little tug. That's it. You don't have to.
Yeah. So you want to be careful. If you can get professional training, you definitely want to do that. If you can't, just understand that everything you see on YouTube is not accurate. And plus, when you watch that yank on there, a lot of times it's a reinduction anyway. So it looks fabulous, but it's not the induction. But you don't understand exactly what's going on. I remember, when I would see stuff, I'm like, wow, how are they doing that? Why are they doing that? You just don't know. So it's really important that you get some. And I'm curious too, Richard. So when somebody comes to you for the coaching, what kind of things do you kind of go over with them? How do you help them?
So I usually work with people who are trained,
Mm-hmm.
have some stage hypnosis background, and I help them determine what kind of career path they want. When I first started out, I had a 10-year path of where I wanted to go, the markets that I wanted to work in, and what I was going to do. I had an exit strategy at the end of 10 years. So I made a plan. So I work with new people to figure out a market that will replace their regular job, because that's what we all want to do, right? I started out working the Burger King. I was a manager, and when I was able to get enough income from shows that exceeded what I was making per month at the Burger King, then it was time to go full time. And so that's what I did. That's how I work with new people. With people who've been in the business for a while, they get to a point where they're almost on autopilot. And so I'm working with some full timers who've been in the business for a while, and they just want to try something new. They want to figure out how to explore a new market that excites them. They want to come up with some new show material that excites them, or a new style of performing. So those people are exciting to work with. And then I work with some people who are on the retiring side of hypnosis. What are you going to do next? What's your exit strategy for the business? And what are your plans after? What do you want to do? So that's kind of how I determine my coaching with the three stages of the career, I guess. And and it's a lot of fun seeing the new people hit a market and actually say, I'm ready to go full time. And somebody who's been in it for a while go, I got this great new idea for a show. And then the people ready to retire who are like, yeah, I think I'm going to move to Arizona and do something there. So yeah, it's fun. Again, it goes back to helping people, and my energy comes from helping people and helping them achieve what their life purpose is.
So Richard, I've got a question. We're gonna kind of shift gears here. So we get to play. Jim came up with this thing called friend or frenemy. So it's a single question, yes or no. We do have some leniency. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, I knew it.
Not only a yes, but I actually did a show in the town, Chatham, Ontario, where pineapple pizza was invented, because it was invented in Canada. I not only had pineapple pizza in Chatham, but at the restaurant where it came from. I took a picture outside, and if I didn't, I'm going to get it in a poster form, and I will send it to Jim.
I knew it. I've seen that picture, Richard. I knew the answer to this question. Oh, so disappointed. I mean, this makes you a friend of me. You can't be a friend of the show. You can be a friend of me. I'm sorry.
I'll still love you, even if you don't love me. I'll love you.
I can still love you and still be a friend of me. Don't worry, buddy. Don't worry. I got a big hug for you when I see you at the next conference. Yeah, so we are. I know Becca's very disappointed too. She's a wise one. She's a friend. So a couple of things before we're going to be giving away a prize. Who's ready for a prize? So, and then we're going to talk about Richard's book. We haven't gotten to his book yet. Excited about this guy is so prolific. Let's see. So can you see?
Is Richard's book about like how he got addicted to drugs and making poor life choices, like pineapple on pizza? No. Asking for a friend.
No, not that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if y'all can see the picture or not, but there it is. We're didn't have a new prize for today. It is the trusty old Damn I'm Pretty mug. You get your choice of colors and all that stuff, and of course you can head over to the to my website, find the whole shop, JimKellnerHypnotist.com. It says shop now.
Carol says, yum, pineapple on pizza.
Oh, Carol. Also.
And we've unfriend.
No, yes, exactly. Blocked, triggered, reported, blocked. Okay. Are we ready to give away?
Oh, Andre, I like you. It says, of course, Canada did that to us.
Exactly.
Oh, trust me, we've done a lot of things that you guys don't know about that actually probably
Shawn. next
won us a couple of world wars and a couple of other things.
Oh, yeah. the power of poutine.
I was going to say
and maple syrup.
Poutine, so that does give them a little bit of leeway. So.
Next, they're going to want Tim Hortons and that stuff.
Oh no, you've got some diehard Starbucks people that'll be like death before Tim Hortons or decaf.
So here's a funny thing, because Canada for me is like 2 hours away. But in order to find poutine around here, there's only like a couple places in town in the big city of Seattle where you can find poutine. It's so weird how like that border just kind of stops it from coming. I don't know why. Why not stopping pineapple pizza?
So for the
go ahead.
Okay, for the people who don't know, poutine is basically French fries and gravy with cheese curds. And I mean, it's get your French fries and gravy and ask them to put like
the cheese curds. I'm kind of like,
I
don't know.
Hey, but for the connoisseurs who have actually had real poutine,
oh yeah,
it is not just any gravy; it's duck fat gravy.
Wow.
And those cheese curds actually are produced in Canada, I believe in Montreal, and they are only squeaky for 24 hours.
Yep.
Okay.
They have to squeak.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, hey, Shawn, put my email address in there, jim@jimkellner.com, please. So if we're friends on Facebook, I'll shoot you a message letting you know you won. You don't have to be present to win. Maybe from now on we will. I don't know. But if I can't find you, I can't give you the prize. So if I don't know you on Facebook, send me an email, jim@jimkellner.com. If you win, you can win twice, but no more than twice. Here we go. We're playing for the prize. And yes, we do ship overseas. Here it comes, everybody. We got a drum roll, Shawn, or no?
Oh, a drum roll. Oh, I see. We want actual.
We'll do that next time.
Sound effects, like we know what we're doing.
All right, here we go.
And start.
Oh no, we should have had the drum roll.
Dennis Ridgway.
Hey!
Oh, all right.
There he is. Dennis, do me a favor if you're still watching. Head over to send me a message on there with your address, your mailing address, and we'll get that out in the mail to you. And I'll ask you to, you can head over to the website. You can find it by going to this. Tell me which one you want because we have a couple of variations. So happy that Dennis, Dennis he likes games of chance. Let's just say he's a big fan of games of chance. So I'm glad that he won. Richard, you have, I'm looking at your promo stuff, and you've got a lot of booklets and books out there. And I think this one is one that is something. We got the link there, Shawn, for the book. And I'll tell you, on the link, it says this book is not available. I'll tell you, I just bought it, so it is available. But the link, for some reason, says, it's not. And it's only, it's 99 cents on Kindle. You can get it. Tell us the title. It's, I don't remember the whole title. It's Pack Your
Suitcase.
Pack Your Suitcase. Basically, he's created a game to help you memorize things. And I got to tell you, man, this is one of the things. I don't know why they don't teach that in school because, man, wouldn't that be helpful? Why don't they teach us how to memorize stuff? But I don't think they really do. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, for sure. When I many years ago, might be 10, 10 or so years ago, my nephew used to come up with me. I hired him for the summer. He was 7 years old, I think, at the time. And I used to work 11 weeks at resorts up in the Muskokas doing shows. And so, excuse me. So he would come up with me, and it was usually a long drive, 2.5 hours or so. So we would stop at the McDonald's and get chicken fingers, fries, and chocolate milk and head up. And as we're driving along, we would play this game called Pack the Suitcase. And it's a simple game. You start with one item and you put it in the suitcase. So I pack my suitcase, and in it I put my toothbrush. And then the next person who goes, they pack their suitcase, and in it they put their toothbrush and a comb. And then the next person would go toothbrush, comb, and add a third item. So you were stacking items, and you had to memorize them and recall them as we went. And so we had a lot of fun playing this, and I realized that this could be a great teaching moment. So I learned, I taught him a simple memorization technique, linking items together visually. So, for instance, one rhymes with bun, so you put the toothbrush inside a bun. And so he would imagine in his mind putting in the suitcase a toothbrush in a bun because it rhymed with one. And so we had a lot of fun. I had fun teaching him this technique. Now, while I was at the resorts, I would sell videos of my show, and I had a monkey in my show that somebody would fall in love with. It was a big red monkey. It used to be a big yellow banana, but he's retired. And so now it's a big red monkey. And so Wade, he's my nephew. He's the guy that came with me. I bought some small monkeys that we would sell after the show. And so he was in charge of the sales table, primarily because, I mean, if you have a cute kid selling stuff, sure. Hey, do you want to buy a monkey? Yes, fine, I'll buy a monkey. And so he was my salesperson, and we would do this sort of stuff. And I decided to put the game and the memorization technique in a booklet form, and we would sell it after the shows. And so it went really, really well. In fact, I had a few high schools who were looking for something different other than a hypnosis show for their assemblies. So I started to do a mentalism show where I would teach them memorization techniques because it's important to learn how to memorize things when you're in high school, right?
Definitely.
And so some of the teachers would purchase the booklet from me, and they would teach their class. And so that's kind of how the book came, and that's how it comes all full circle, where I became a stage hypnotist because I saw a stage hypnotist, and I also do memorization techniques and mentalism because that was the opening act.
Nice. That's fantastic. Yeah, and I mean, you're quite talented. You have a lot of skills. All right.
Thank you,
Jim. And you know what? I got to say, you got to be like one of the nicest guys in this business. Really. I mean, I know you're Canadian and all, but I mean, I think you're like Canadian times 10. All right. So, Brian, you want to wrap up the final questions or comments? Anything else?
Excuse me. I think we've got a lot of the final comments and everything.
The child labor.
Yeah.
Andre says child labor.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Andre likes the alphabetical order of the grocery store game, or without the likes the grocery store game. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. Very
cool.
Sesame
Street sketch, right?
Yeah. Hey, if anybody wants to jump. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I need to go get a stick of butter and a container of milk and a loaf of bread, right?
Uh-huh. All right.
For those of us that remember back that far.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have learned how to memorize things better than I remember things now. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start the hypnosis, folks, and Richard has his choice, and he can always opt out too because we can do it. I don't think he will, but we like to, when we have stage hypnotists on, oftentimes the default is going with fun with hypnosis, but you're also welcome to do a hypnotherapy type thing or whatever you'd like to do. Teach some memory techniques, whatever, but hypnosis is always ideal. Could do a hypnosis for memory. I want to remind everybody, please do not watch or listen to this while you're driving, riding a tractor,
operating heavy machinery,
any kind of heavy machinery, and also make sure, like if you're in a chair, that just in case if you get so deeply hypnotized, you can't fall out and hurt yourself. So you might want to lie down on a bed.
Make sure you're out of range of sharp of blunt objects and everything like that. Put your feet up. Make sure you're
right.
You're solid.
Absolutely. All right. So, Richard, what would you like to do tonight, or do you want us to lead? It's up to you.
Hey, how long do you normally do this for?
Maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Because I have a shorter thing that I do that installs some confidence. It's NLP based as well. It doesn't require deep hypnosis, and that could be something. I mean, it might get you guys out here a little bit earlier than normal, but it's something new and fun. It's something that I teach the students when I perform at school shows, and I've also done it a lot with corporate events as well. And it really all begins with you just sitting comfortably, and you just close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, you can notice your breathing in through your nose and holding it, and then out through your mouth. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you don't need to go into deep hypnosis right now, unless you really want to go deep into hypnosis, but you still need to be able to hear my voice as you go into hypnosis. So you can listen to the words that I say with your eyes closed as you continue to breathe in through your nose, hold it, and out through your mouth. And it's really that simple. To go into hypnosis deeply if you want now, or light hypnosis is fine as you breathe in and out. And I want you to imagine, with your eyes closed, I want you to imagine a movie screen. It could be a gray movie screen, a silver movie screen, a white movie screen. And if you can't imagine a movie screen, imagine what it would be like if you could imagine now a movie screen in your mind. What would that movie screen look like if you could imagine that movie screen? Perhaps it's silver or white or a black movie screen. And perhaps you begin to even notice now around the outside of the movie screen are curtains. And now you don't need to go into deep hypnosis now, but if you were, you could imagine those curtains were a fabric, and you could imagine those curtains. And if you can't imagine in your mind those curtains and the movie screen, imagine what it would be like if you could see those curtains and the movie screen. Are the curtains red? Are the curtains blue? Are the curtains soft? What's the fabric? And notice that as you simply look at the image in your mind. And take a moment now and notice the screen. Notice as you look at the screen, you notice an image beginning to form on the movie screen. It's an image that becomes clearer now into view. And if you can't imagine a movie screen, imagine what it would be like if you could imagine an image of yourself coming onto that movie screen. And as you can imagine now that movie screen, you see that image now becoming clear. It's an image of you. It's an image of you as a successful person. Maybe it's an image of you as a successful person that you imagine yourself to be 4 years from now or 3 years from now. A successful you, maybe it's only 2 years out and you can see all the achievements that you made 1 year now. As you see that image, see you as that successful person. And take a look now. Perhaps you notice the image moving 360 degrees, 180 degrees. It doesn't matter, but you can see all around that image. And you notice that image. Notice how that person stands, that successful you that you are now standing there. And perhaps you notice a smile on your face. And perhaps you notice now that successful person you are, has always been in you, is there now. And you see how that person stands and how that person moves. Maybe that image is moving now, and maybe you can hear voices of people giving you accolades of your success. Well done, great job. And you can hear those voices becoming clearer because you know now that you have achieved this success, the success that lies within you, you have achieved now. And perhaps you begin to notice even more now how that person looks, how that person feels. Imagine how that person feels about the success that they have achieved, the successful you that is in you right now, that success. And I want you to notice that image on the movie screen and notice the rest of the movie screen becoming a color. It's your favorite color. It's your favorite color. Perhaps if your favorite color is green, it's a lime green. Or if it's pink, it's a neon pink. It's beginning to flow onto the movie screen. Maybe it's like a filter in your mind where the color that you like most, the color that you appreciate most, the color that represents you the most is beginning to flood this screen. The image is still there. And that color becomes more bright and more vibrant around the image of you as a successful person. The successful person that you are, emanating this color, your favorite color. It's your favorite color because it makes you feel good about who you are and what you can achieve. And now notice that color becoming brighter. Perhaps if you can't imagine that color, imagine what it would be like if you could turn the volume level up on that color to 11. Brighter color, more vibrant, more full of life, just like you now are more brighter, vibrant, and full of life as you see that successful person that is in you now. And notice the color, more bright, more vibrant, filling the image. And you notice that image of you that you see becoming more energetic, more full of life, feeling great about who they are. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to imagine what it would be like floating up from your seat where you are into the movie screen. Imagine what it would be like in 3, 2, 1 as you float up into the movie screen and absorb that image. And perhaps you notice the color around you. And if you can't imagine that, imagine what it would be like if you were to float up into that movie screen and become that successful person now and feel the energy of the light radiating around you, your favorite color, because it makes you feel good about who you are and what you can achieve. And perhaps that image begins to rotate. You rotate that image, and you now notice the seat you were just in the movie theater. And you notice now that as I count backwards from 3 to 1, you can actually move back to that seat where you were. taking the image of you as a successful person now, taking the colors of you as a successful person now with you. 3, pulling out of the screen, moving closer towards 2, that seat in the audience. 1, unified image becoming you with the colors. And now as you look up, you can see the movie screen. And you notice it is filled with that color. And that successful person that was there is now inside you. That successful person that you are, that you can achieve all the success, all the dreams, all the goals in your life lives there now in you. And you notice, perhaps you notice clearer now, the color, your favorite color, radiating off you. If it's green, you notice that lime green is more bright, more vibrant. If it's a light blue, it's glowing blue. And you notice that, and you feel it through your whole body. And you'll know you'll feel it because perhaps you begin to notice now your fingers twitching ever so slightly. Maybe the hairs on your neck or your arms are beginning to stand up as your body fills with this color energy. Your color energy. It's your favorite color because it makes you feel good about who you are now and what you can achieve. And remember this, for the rest of your life, anytime you see your favorite color, it will be more bright and more vibrant. It will remind you of how bright, how vibrant, how successful you are. More bright, more vibrant, more full of life. And in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And when I reach the number 5, you'll open your eyes wide awake, back with us here, feeling more energetic, more full of life, knowing that that successful person you have always wanted to be is who you are and is in you now. 1, beginning to come back now. 2, feeling the color radiating through you. 3, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, coming back to this room. 4, getting ready to open your eyes, wide awake and alert, feeling wonderful in each and every way. 5, eyes open. Welcome back.
Wow, thank you, Richard.
So yeah, I know. I don't know how long you were expecting that to go for, but that's something that I like to do.
It's perfect. And as always, for those of you watching, if you'd like to tell us what the experience was like, good, bad, ugly, whatever, we always want to get whatever feedback you have. Take a look at your messenger, Richard. Question for you, but that was a lesson in embedded commands right there. I tell you what, that whole thing, that first part especially, it was like, I see what you're doing there. That was good stuff. Hey, what'd y'all think?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had my volume turned down. That was pretty solid. I was listening to that, and it seemed pretty clear, concise, to the point, and some pretty powerful suggestions with what you guys were talking about.
Yeah, these are things that I've learned over the years that I've picked up with NLP and with hypnosis, and I always feel that you should always leave people better than when you first found them. So yeah. I hope I've done that tonight.
I think that's a wonderful outlook on just interactions with everybody that you can, going into it. And then if they show you that they don't deserve it, then you're just kind of like, all right, I'll pass.
So we had Becca says, wow, I sometimes can't picture things great, but I pictured all this so perfectly, so it works so well really enjoyed it. Well done, Richard. Well done.
Oh, great. Thank you very much.
Richard, you just impacted somebody on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
It's pretty rad.
And that's great. Well,
go ahead, Richard.
Well, it's because you guys do these sorts of things that we're allowed these opportunities to impact people on other sides of the planet. And so I appreciate you all for putting this together.
Thanks, buddy. And what's great too is this is just the people watching now. We get far more in the replays, viewers. So this continues to touch people. I mean, really, for years to come. So, thank you.
Nice, great, thank you.
No, thank you for joining us this evening.
So Andre says, good stuff. Thanks, Richard. Just finalized on a favorite color too. Didn't have one up to now, but now I felt good. Well, look at that. He's finally got a favorite color.
NLP acrobatics. I like it.
Yeah.
And as you could tell, I like colors. And as we started right out off the top, bright and vibrant, I believe were Jim's words. So
we got the Canadian, mental Miyagi here. Just
the mental artiste.
Yes.
Yeah, Becca says I can still see the baby pink color in my head. It's like a vibrant baby pink.
Wow.
Leave it to a woman to go describe a color that way. Have you ever seen like nail polish colors or something? It's like, what?
Richard, what a pleasure it's been. Hey, what do you got coming up?
I got some vacation coming up, actually.
Oh,
so yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. You got vacation? Good.
Yeah, we have our Victoria Day holiday. It's you guys have your Memorial Day weekend coming up in a couple of weeks, and we because we're Canadian, we have our party starts 1 week earlier. So so up here in Canada, we call it the May 2-4 weekend. So I'm my wife is taking me, her best friend, and her mom to this little cottage on a lake up in Bon Echo Provincial Park, which is a really beautiful part of Canada. And so that's what I have. And then I got to get back to work in June. Got a bunch of shows coming up, and I'll be at the Michigan International Conference. I think that's in September.
Excellent.
So yeah, so I'll be there this year.
Yeah. And you're coming to Vegas for performing hypnosis, right?
Hopefully, if everything falls into place and we can make that work, that would be fun.
Yeah. I just want to say before we go, because I know you got to get out here, and if Brian wants to field some more questions, chat some more, of course he can still do the deep dive. But one of the things I both love and hate about you, Richard, because I messaged you about something one time. I can't remember what it was. Maybe inviting you to speak or something like this. And
this is before he knew that there was pineapple on pizza.
Exactly. So I don't hear anything for like 10 days, couple weeks or something. And then I get this message, hey, sorry, I was on vacation. And I was like, you can do that? You can like leave.
It's Canadian law, actually.
For us entrepreneurs, for us entrepreneurs to take any kind of time off, it is so hard for me to not check messages, to not answer emails, that kind of stuff. So I was impressed, and it's actually a goal of mine. It's a goal of mine to get to that place.
Part of here, I'll leave you another business tip for you, Jim. Part of being a good entrepreneur is being able to delegate responsibility and having confidence in those people you delegate to, and that begins with having someone you can delegate to.
Right.
A lot of us who run our own business, we're solopreneurs, and so we work hard and we do everything, and it's like we're chasing a dozen rabbits. And when you're chasing a dozen rabbits, you won't catch one. So you need to find those people who can help you, and put them in places where they can help you. And when your downtime comes, because we need to recharge, we all do. We're human beings. We need to re-energize and recharge. And when that time comes, you need to be able to shut it off. I was probably on a cruise, because my wife and I go on a cruise every once in a while. Nice. And so everything has to be in place. And I probably did check my messages and went, I'm 2 days away from getting back, so I'll answer him then. Yeah. But there are, like Shawn says, there are some places in Canada that don't have cell service, and I sometimes like to go there, and I will just go fish, and I will just clear my mind and let it all go, you know.
So I had a VA for a while. Didn't really work out. I've had a couple now, but this is the thing. Every time I get one and lose one, I need to I learn something. So that's my goal. I want to be able to take it's been decades, literally decades, since I was able to even go away for like 3 days and not check email, check messages, that kind of thing, take phone calls. So that's my goal: a 3-day weekend. With no contact. So thank you for that, Richard.
No problem.
Set a great example. So,
nice.
Brian, are you going to stick around, or are you going to head out also?
If we have questions, I can.
Okay.
The only thing that I'm going to do is when we're wrapped up, I'll run down to the store and go grab some dinner.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and check out. Shawn, are you sticking around? Or are you taking off too?
Oh,
Shawn's muted.
Shawn's muted.
How do you know I'm muted and I just didn't say anything?
Yeah.
Oh, we got Schwartzed.
We were supposed to be lip reading.
Everybody says, well, can you hypnotize me? Yeah, but how do you know you're not already?
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, exactly.
So are you sticking around, or are you taking off also?
Yeah, no, I can stick around and for a few minutes with Brian, and if there's no questions, we will close it out.
All right. If one of you, when you're done, just tap the big red button that says End Broadcast. Richard Cole, always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Jim, Brian, and Shawn, and everybody who tuned in on the chat. Great questions, and thanks for everything you guys do here.
Thank you. And Andre, thanks. It is a goal. I will get there eventually. I may have to go to a place in Canada that has no cell service, but I'll
give me a call. We got lots of places.
Yeah. Saskatchewan.
They call us the Gap for a reason.
All right. So hey, if anybody has more questions, Shawn and Brian are going to stick around, field those questions. You want to chat? They're happy to do that. I, on the other hand, and Richard, we got to go. We got to go rest up. Take care. Be well. Be awesome.
Stay free, everybody.
And Richard, you just tap the leave button.
And then there were two. But no, if anybody's got questions, like I said, we'll hang around. But it looks like Shawn, I think everybody's wrapping up, and
looks that way.
It's I think we're gonna call it dinner time.
Dinner, man, that was like 2 hours ago.
Oh, it's only 7 o'clock here, so. But
it's popcorn time now.
Yeah, exactly. A little side of poutine or something like that. But no, always a pleasure, man.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Look forward to catching up with you here in a few weeks.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right, man.
Alrighty.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, everybody.